Good morning, Bernard. It's good to hear your voice on Happy Friday.
Happy Friday too, Dr. Priscilla, and
Okay,
weekend.
thank you. All right, today we're going to read from Breaking News English. It's a mini lesson. Let's get started. Best to learn. You may start there.
Best to learn a new language before age of 10. The 4th of May 2018. New research from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology suggests that if people want to achieve native-like proficiency in a new language, they should start learning that language before the age of 10. The researchers added that children up to the age of 17 or 18 remain adept at learning grammar. There is a bad news for those who want to pick up a new language beyond their late teens. The researchers say this is past the critical period when language learning ability starts to decline. Researcher Joshua Hartstrom said, as far as a child is concerned, it's quite easy to become bilingual.
Bilingual.
Bilingual. That's when you are best at learning language. It's not really something that you can make up later. The research was based on an analysis of results from a 10-minute online grammar quiz
Analysis.
analysis. Over 770,000 language learners of all ages participated in the test.
670,000. 670,000.
670,000 language learners. Researchers measured the grammatical ability of people who started learning a language at different points in their life. Professor Hartstrom focused on grammar rules that were not most likely to confuse a non-native speaker as a gauge of that person's proficiency.
Could you read that again? I think you missed an important point.
Yes. Professor focused on grammar rules that were most likely to confuse a non-native speaker as a gauge of that person's proficiency.
As a gauge.
As a gauge. Massachusetts Institute Technology researcher Josh Tenenbaum suggested people simply might be too busy to learn a language later in life. He said, after 17 or 18, you leave home, you work full-time, or you become a specialized university student. All of this might impact your learning rate for any language.
Okay, very good reading. And the definition of gauge is?
I don't know.
To gauge something is to have a measurement. The gauge on your car lets you know that you're out of gas. It lets you know that you need to change your oil. The gauge on the tire pressure meter suggests you need to put air in the tire. Do you understand the word gauge?
Yes.
And analysis?
Analysis, yes, but a gauge of that person's proficiency. I don't know proficiency too.
Okay, proficiency is their ability to do something, such as speak a language. Are they proficient, or are they poor? Are they exceptional? Proficiency is the level of expertise. Proficient, are they good at something?
Okay.
So we can tell if they are good with the ability to speak. if they have the ability to do something. It's the proficiency. When we go to college and we get our degree, it demonstrates our level of proficiency in this subject matter.
There's different level of proficiency. I suppose if you're bad, you have a bad level, but your proficiency level is bad.
That is very good. That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. If we look over to the right, we see the synonym match.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the pen, and I'm going to ask you to match up those correctly. Achieve is to
Achieve, attain. Adapt, I don't know. Beyond, after. Critical, vital.
Good.
Decline, diminish.
Excellent.
Analysis, examination.
Mm-hmm.
Points, no. Gauge,
Measure. Good.
Impact, I don't know. Rate. Oh my God, that is difficult. Adapt. Affect. No?
Adept. I think adept is going to be attain. Adept. It means that you are good at something. No, it's not going to be. Adept means that you have the ability to do something very well.
Skilled.
Good.
Impact.
The impact of the lesson is shown in the ability he has to speak.
Affect.
Yes, that is correct.
Points. Times. That's correct. Mm-hmm. And rate. Speed.
Rate is speed. Good.
Wow.
There you are. So we have all 10 corrected. Are there questions about that?
No.
Sometimes this is an individual's opinion. Sometimes we would have chosen a different word than what is given.
Yes.
All right. So what was this article about? As you tell me what this article is about, could you use some of these words as you discuss or describe this article?
Yes, I'm going to try because I only read the article once.
Mm-hmm.
It will be difficult, but I suppose that the article, it's about the level of the learners in another language. The scientists achieve research that seems show that the young children under 10 years old have a critical age to learn English more easily than adults or teenagers. The analysis, the answer of different learners at different ages and try to classify them on a gauge in order to know what was the impact of the age on their proficiency. It seems that the better points are beyond the age and under the age of 10 years old. Beyond the age of 10 years old, it's more difficult to learn easily a language and speak like a native speaker. The adept of the language, the learners, could be deceived by this scientist's achievement, and they will be difficult to her, to them, to obtain the rate of the young learners. I'm adept of learning a new language, but it seems that my proficiency declined with the age, perhaps.
Okay. All right. That's not too bad. You used all of the words. Some of your grammar structures were not correct, but I didn't check those because I was looking for the vocabulary words. So a synopsis of this article using those words, as I would see it, might go this way. In this document, the researchers tried to achieve a level of information to demonstrate if there is a critical point for learning a language. In their analysis, they said that one could gauge the ability to learn and the impact that learning would have on a person by looking at the child's age. Children that are in their later teenage years are not as adept as children up to the later age of 17 or 18. For this reason, it is believed that children beyond the age of 17 or 18 will find it difficult to learn. The decline in learning is primarily based upon the fact that many of these individuals will have other responsibilities. The article pointed out or points to the fact that at the later age, people are working on a career, going to school, and their focus is different, and their rate of participating in languages varies. All right, so there I have used the words as well. Are there any questions about what I just said or read?
No. It's difficult for me to understand everything, but thanks to your recording, I try.
Oh, okay.
But just one thing about the recording.
Yes.
We already discussed about that. Sometimes when you send me a recording, there's a small icon at the bottom. If I click on it, I could translate what you say. And sometimes this icon disappears. I don't know why. Sometimes there's an icon to translate. Sometimes there's no icon to translate.
I really don't know because there isn't anything that I do differently. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's really difficult. Yesterday, for example, I tried to revise yesterday evening the lesson you told me 2 days ago.
Yes.
it was, I tried to listen and listen and listen, and I couldn't understand everything. I understood about 90%. It's good, but not all.
All right. So this is what I'll do. Today I will let it completely render before doing anything to it. Maybe I save it too soon, and I save it without my being aware of what I'm doing. So today I'll wait until it has completely rendered itself and then send you the link.
Okay.
Let me know if you're able to translate it that way. And then on another day, we'll try something else, saving it differently to see if that method of saving your lesson makes all the difference.
I will
There
tell
was,
you.
there
I will
was
tell you that Monday.
okay.
You,
I watched a TED TED talk, and it was about a young man that was 14 years old, and he had what is called the brittle bone syndrome. His life story up to this point was simply amazing. And what makes me think about it is this article today that says that children learn so much more when they're younger. And this young man is so young and has such a fragile body, but he has mastered being able to speak. He's from India. He speaks excellent English.
oh, I try to translate what you told me. You told me the story about a young student you have in India who is disabled or has a big problem, 14 years old, and try to learn English. And in your opinion, he becomes very good with a high level of proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And you're stupefied, you're amazing of his level.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That is correct. And
Okay.
what made his life story so interesting is the fact that he has a critical bone problem. He has hundreds of fractures. He had, or he was born with hundreds of fractures in his body.
Fracture of the bones?
Fractures of the bone. And there is no cure for this disease.
I heard about that once in France because I remember the parents, the relatives, were sent to a trial because the police thought that they were rude parents.
Mm.
They break the bones of their young children. In fact, it was a illness, but they spent few days in prison before they discovered the truth.
Mm.
Oh yes, I remember this story. It's a strange illness.
Yes, yes, it is. All right. I'm
The-
going to stop the recording. And
I think I'm not really gifted, but I'm stubborn and I try to learn every day. But in fact, it's really difficult to learn a language fluently.
okay, so when you use the word that you are a stubborn learner, I think you mean you are a determined learner. A stubborn learner seems to suggest to me that you refuse to learn the language, but you're not refusing.
I know.
Find it very challenging to speak
Okay.
the language.
I'm a determined learner student. Okay.
I'm a determined student that wishes to learn English.
But as you did you heard on the news the mistake that Mr. Macron made when he speak in the Australia country about
No,
you didn't hear that on the TV?
no, what did he do?
Macron speaks easily English, and
Yes.
every time he goes in another country, he
Mhm.
used to speak English.
All
But
right.
at the end of this meeting, he turns, he spoke to the First Minister of Australia, I suppose, and he
Mhm.
said, "Thank you for your welcome and your delicious wife."
Oh no. Oh wow. I'm sure they had a field day with that. Wow. That had to be
Just about
very
that, they
that
laugh about that in the news in France and in Australia.
no, I did not hear that. I did not hear that.
The delicious
Mm,
wife.
I'm sure he felt very embarrassed once it was pointed
Yes,
out to him.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm sure I surely made a lot of mistake like that without knowing.
Yes. Yes, without knowing. Mm, interesting. All right. So, what do you believe, letter E, what is the best way to learn a language? What do you think is the best way to learn a language?
The best way to learn language is to speak with a native speaker like you, a good teacher who record the discussion we have so we can listen it again and again and try
Listen,
to understand
listen to it again and again.
and listen to it again and again in order to understand perfectly the lesson you had. And
Mm,
it's my goal, and I'm really satisfied with your lesson.
okay, great. And finally, H, how difficult is your language to learn?
Oh, since I tried to learn English for so many years, it seems that it's really difficult for me to learn language because surely
But your language, how
your
difficult if someone else is trying to learn your language, your native language, do you think your language is difficult to learn?
oh I think it's really French is really difficult because the grammar is so complicated that so many tenses. I think English is easier to learn than French.
Okay. All right. I'm going to now